Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Moon Phases and Essential Oils. Today, we're going to talk about the upcoming Leo new moon. The new moon is Thursday, July 28th, and if you're in the United States on the West Coast, it's at 10:55 a.m. in the morning. And if you're on the East Coast in the US, it's at 1:55 p.m. in the afternoon. And if you're in Rome, where I am, it'll be at 7:55 p.m. And that is Thursday, July 28th. So this is a really exciting and interesting new moon. I mean, I'd probably say that about every single one. This one is really dynamic and outgoing. Leo is a fire sign, and it's also the sign that's associated with the sun, like the sun that gives us all the light so we can live. It's a really creative sign. Leo is a very creative sign, and the sun is about vitality. It's associated with our ego and our personality. It's one of the places we look to talk about personality in astrology. And when somebody says, "Hey, what's your sign?" and you say, "Oh, I'm a Leo," or "I'm a Libra," it's your sun sign, because there are other planetary bodies in the sky, and when you were born, they were all in a sign. Your astrology chart is more complex when we start looking at all those different bodies. When we talk about the sign Leo, though, it has an association with the sun. I'm wearing my sun pendant today, and I'm wearing my sunflowers, and I have the color red in my diffuser and my moonlights, because it's a fire sign. And fire, of course, is associated with the color red and passion and vitality and dynamic energy. That's the exciting part of this new moon, is that it's our once a year Leo new moon. So it's a very dynamic, energizing type of new moon. The new moons are about new beginnings or new phases of something, maybe taking something to the next level. And the new moon always represents the beginning of a moon cycle. Now, in the sky, the moon doesn't actually stop and start a cycle. It's cyclical, and it's, it goes around and around. In astrology, when we look at cycles and their symbolism, we do look at the beginning of a cycle and the symbolic representation of that. So the new moon's always a symbolic representation of the beginning of a cycle, which is why it's associated with the new beginnings and the new phases. The theme that I am using for this particular new moon is based on this energy of new moon in Leo and the other planetary placements in the sky. And this is where the theme comes from. So the theme is start a new chapter on self-expression. Starting a new chapter has to do with the new moon, and self-expression very much has to do with Leo. And this is the topic that I really want to talk about in today's video, because so often when it comes to self-expression, we can hold ourselves back and feel shy, timid about letting our true self shine, shine like the sun. The other thing that I think happens, and is probably far more common, is that we express ourselves in a way to try to please others or try to live up to others' expectations. And so I think this new moon is a really great time symbolically to focus on self-expression in its truest form. Your self-expression where you're letting your true authentic self shine through, and you put to the side any need or drive or desire to put on a false mask to express yourself in a way that's about pleasing others, which means that you're putting yourself in the back seat. So Leo is about yourself, and well, Aries is a fire sign too, and that's really the sign where we're really self-focused. Leo is a fire sign, and it's about self-expression. So that also has that energy vibe of some self-focus. Leo is a very different fire sign than Aries. Leos are known for their protective nature, especially of their kin, especially of their children. If you're a Leo mom, or you have a Leo mom like I do, you know how protective the Leo persona is. And, of course, Leo dads also, I have a Leo mom, so I really understand that from the maternal perspective. Children are associated with Leo because having children is one of the highest forms of creativity that you can do. You can create a child in your body and produce a child. So Leo is a sign that's definitely associated with creativity and self-expression. And so other creative things, the obvious ones are, the artistic creations that you can make, whether it's painting, drawing, singing, dancing, or all the other forms of creativity. And there's no limit on what that is. Are you a creative gardener? Do you design gardens? Do you design amazing presentations? Do you make pottery? Do you solve problems in a really creative way? Are you the person that people go to when they're stuck on something, maybe logistical, something that you would never even consider creative? Like you work for a company who designs, I don't know, cars or parts for airplanes, and you're stuck and you need a solution. There are people who are very creative at looking at the problem and coming up with a creative solution. So don't limit your concept of creativity to artists. It definitely is the realm of artists. It is just that it expands far beyond that. And so when we're talking about letting your self-expression shine through, you do not have to go and sing in front of people or create some masterpiece of art. Of course, if that's your thing and that's what you're driven to do, absolutely do that. However, if you really want to go in the rhythm of this new moon, you really want to soak in those vibes and do some self-development, self-growth, this is the area that you can focus on, is letting your unique and particular creative parts of you come out. Now, this new moon is like all new moons, like all moon phases, it's not in a vacuum. So when we say new moon, we're talking specifically about the moon as it's traveling in the sky is in the sign of Leo, and the sun is also in the sign of Leo, because a new moon means that the sun and the moon are in the same place, same degree in the zodiac. There are other planets, of course, moving through the sky, and they all make their relationships. And that's why year to year, a Leo new moon can look very different. This year's new moon probably looks very different than last year's new moon. I didn't check, so I can't tell you what those differences are, but I can tell you that I know for certain that certain planets are not in the same sign as they were last year. For example, Jupiter is in the sign of Aries this year, and last year it would have been probably in the sign of Pisces because it moves a sign a year. And having Jupiter in Aries is really nice, compatible energy with Leo, because Aries and Leo are both fire signs. So Jupiter is bringing in this optimistic vibe, a helpful hand for the self-expression that you want to do, maybe helping to open you up to letting yourself express yourself. Because the other things happening in the sky are the energies that are setting us up for this vibe of starting a new chapter on self-expression. There are planets in Taurus and Leo and Scorpio and Aquarius. Well, actually, I'm sorry, there's not a planet in Scorpio, but there's the nodes in the moon, which I'm not going to define because that would be kind of like a whole video on its own. What I want to say about that is when the nodes get involved, they usually have some sort of karmic energy to them, where maybe something will happen and you feel like, oh, that was so fated. That was like this event, like it was destined to happen. Like you feel like, oh, maybe you expected something to happen, or you aren't surprised. And it's all going to relate back to this self-expression theme, because we're talking about Leo here. Now, why it's important that I'm bringing up Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius is because those four signs are the fixed signs of the zodiac. And it's just one way of characterizing the signs. There's a few different things that we can look at in astrology. This really jumped out to me, that we have this fixed energy because this is signaling that there may be some rigidity going on in some area of your life. It'll look different for everybody because we all have different charts, but we all have Leo somewhere in our chart, right? And we all have Taurus somewhere in our chart, and we all have Scorpio and Aquarius somewhere in our chart. Now, these planets that are occupying these different signs are probably going to highlight something in your life that seems rigid, or like it's in this holding pattern, or maybe you're holding onto it and you're resisting change in some way. So as this new moon comes along, there's this energetic vibe of trying to break up that rigidity, to break up this holding pattern, and kind of like shake off something that's maybe holding you back. Like maybe there, think of it like maybe some extra weight, or some sort of thing that's keeping you from really expressing yourself in the truest form of your authentic self. And I think that this new moon has built-in qualities for highlighting these rigid or stuck places in your life, and also providing energies to break it up, to maybe bring something sudden, because there is the planet Uranus, which is the planet of sudden and unexpected change, to either through an external event that happens, or maybe it happens internally through you, where you just like are tired of something and you want a change. And then Mars is also part of it. And so Mars is about action and Uranus is about sudden change. So I think those two planets, which are actually together in the sign of Taurus. So Taurus is a very routine-based sign. It's all about, keeping the status quo. And, Taurus is fantastic when you want to make sure that something is maintained and stays on track in its routine. But sometimes those tracks can turn into grooves that turn into ruts, and then all of a sudden you're stuck. And so think about that in your life. And, is something kind of like going from a groove to a rut and you're starting to feel stuck? Because what that is in your life is probably going to be really highlighted this week during this new moon phase. And then the Mars and Uranus thing there, and with Jupiter kind of shining some helpful beams over there from Aries, there's this energetic stage to break up some patterns that need to be changed, that for the better in your life. And it's going to have to do with how you express yourself. So I hope that explained the energy of this new moon and helps you prepare to do your new moon intentions. So just to kind of summarize it, I'm going to quote myself, because I wrote this sentence when I was researching for the new moon, and I thought, oh, that really captures the energetic vibe of this new moon really well. And it goes like this: there may be a feeling of something karmic in your life is shifting as you encounter experiences that ask you to be more authentic in your self-expression and break old habits and patterns that limit your authentic self in order to please others. Going back to what I said at the beginning, is that it can look like you kind of getting tired of being a certain way because that's what other people want you to be. And or it can be you getting tired of not letting your true self shine, and you're ready to come out and let your authentic self get out there and shine like the sun. Okay, let's talk about some essential oils. Annabelle was not available today. However, I am an essential oil enthusiast, and I've been working with them since the 90s. So I have a huge collection of oils myself, and I use essential oils every day to help foster the mood that I am working with. I was thinking about this idea of self-expression and what I wanted to have in my diffuser, which is right here, for this week of the new moon in Leo. I chose a few because I do my own mixes. So the first one is basil, or basil, however you say that. It's known for its regenerating, uplifting, and stimulating effects. The next one is bergamot, or bergamot. It's known for being uplifting, assuring, and restoring. Now, I like these two together, and I use them together regularly because I just love the way that they smell and the way that they motivate me. We are helped by uplifting essential oils, especially when we're looking for some help to put ourselves out there, especially, if it's a new way and you're nervous about it. Having something uplifting, stimulating, and assuring can be really helpful. So my first two recommendations are basil and bergamot. And then, if you're looking through your cabinet and you're like, I don't have either of those, I have two others. Juniper is one, which is revitalizing. And I realized that one is probably even less popular than bergamot, but some people might have that and not the other two. So that would be another one. And then probably the one that's most likely to be in your essential oil cabinet is peppermint. And peppermint is known for many, many things, but the quality that I was looking at is adaptability. So peppermint has a way of helping with adaptability. I believe it's uplifting too. I love the smell of peppermint. Any of those or any mix of those would be great in your diffuser. Remember, if you're going to use them on your skin, you definitely want to dilute them with a carrier oil, and you should probably research online. I'm not going to give you ratios. You just want to make sure that you're using them safely. Okay, now let's talk about new moon intentions. So at the new moon, I always do new moon intentions. You can call them goals. You can, just journal about self-expression, whatever works for you. It's always great if you can get out your journal or some, a pad of paper and write at the new moon and set some intentions for what you want to manifest during this new phase. And remember, you want to do this after the new moon phase has started. And I listed those times earlier today. I have them on the blog, which I will link to. So you just want to start your intentions or start writing about them after the new moon phase has started, not before, because that falls into the very end of the prior new moon cycle, or the whole moon cycle, I should say. So you definitely want to get in on the actual new phase, Leo new moon phase. Okay, so here's some ideas for you to do on the new moon, which is Thursday, July 28th, and you want to do it after the new moon, which will be, after 8 p.m. in Rome, and around 2 p.m. in New York, and after 11 a.m. in the West Coast of the United States. So set your intentions around how you want to be truly authentic in your self-expression, right? I've been talking a lot about that today. And set intentions about breaking old patterns, and think about how you might express yourself in a way that's about pleasing others and not about pleasing yourself, or not about expressing your true authentic self. That's really what you're trying to get down into, is the way that I go about expressing myself really true to me, or am I trying to fit somebody else's view of who I should be? Leo is definitely about passion and creativity. So set intentions around how you want to be creative and passionate in your life. Through this process, hopefully you will find ways to be open to seeing old situations in a new way. And with Uranus and Mars at work, I think that sudden solutions could appear. So I would ask you to be open to things that come up that you might kind of wave away and be like, oh, no, I don't want that, or whatever that is. I don't want anything to do with it. Well, if you are thinking or saying that to yourself, that might be a clue to at least be open to learning more about what that is. Now, you may not accept whatever that is in totality, but there may be bits and pieces in there that you find could help you or would be helpful, and that if you remain closed and kind of stuck in doing the ways that you have always done things, you might miss an opportunity. So just kind of like open your eyes and be willing to hear different new ways of doing things, and then take that in and then let it come out in your self-expression the way you want to be authentic to yourself. This new moon, Leo new moon, is really about pattern breaking. It's about being self-focused, and not just like generally speaking, but self-focused on your self-expression. Like kind of hone in on that. Like, do I really do things, say things, present myself in a way that's true to me? Or am I going to work every day and dressing a particular way, speaking a particular way, even doing my work in a particular way to get acceptance from others? And, and maybe you think that that's going to help you get ahead, but it's probably not, because you're cutting off parts of yourself, those creative parts of yourself that can bring a unique strategy, solution that you wouldn't have been able to find if you're just always people pleasing, or you're too shy to let that out. So that's what this is about, breaking those patterns. And you can let discomfort be a guide. If you start feeling really uncomfortable as you're going through this process, it's probably a sign that you're on the right track. And so, let that discomfort kind of be a North Star. Just follow it a little bit and see where it leads you. See if it starts to show you parts of your life that are stuck in a pattern, and that, where it's time to kind of like break that pattern and leave some things in the past and move on to a new chapter of self-expression, which is the theme of this Leo new moon. Now, the other idea I have for you on the new moon is to play the song Express Yourself. Now, you may not be a Madonna fan, that's okay. Or maybe you find another song that's about express yourself. It doesn't matter what the song is. Find a song that is about express yourself and play it. And imagine that you're expressing yourself exactly how you want to, if like there was nothing holding you back, right? This is all in your mind. You can go however far you want to go with that, right? Nobody needs to know. This is just inside of you. But let yourself do that. Go through that process. Let yourself shine. Don't hold back, and see how you feel. And then you can start thinking about which things will you realistically be able to start bringing into your self-expression. It's not about being like, oh, well, I can't do that. It's more about, oh, well, how can I let like that part of me shine that wants to go out? And you know what? I'm doing this video for you. And I couldn't have even imagined doing videos a few years ago. But here I am. So, it's a way of like finding your way to your creative self-expression that's true to you. It's not like saying that, you can have your fantastical dreams and you're going to go from where you are today to there tomorrow. Some of you might, if you are like really intent on going out there and being a rock star, whether it's, in the music business, or a rock star being like the top scientist who builds the next amazing rocket. It's like, what is it that you really want to do? Because if you hold yourself back because you're too shy, or if you're too focused on pleasing others, you're not going to go for that big dream. And it's all about going for your big dream. And then, of course, you have to integrate that with, reality of like, what are you actually going to be able to bring out? This is that process. I work a lot with this in my private practice, in my astrological consultations. And if you'd like to talk about that area for you, self-expression, definitely book a consultation with me and we can talk about self-expression and what that looks like in your chart, the Leo part of your chart. Okay, now I have some other ideas for you for the whole 2-week phase after the new moon. We have the 2 weeks and then we'll go into the peak of the cycle, which is the full moon. So I realize that not everybody has the time to work on new moon intentions on the exact day of the new moon, which is a weekday this time. I have more ideas and things that you can do, over the 2-week time period. Do get out there and express yourself creatively in, whatever manner you enjoy. You can go do karaoke, go out dancing, play like a child. If you have young children, play with them. If you have young children that, whether you babysit, you have nieces, nephews, maybe you work at a school, maybe you have neighbors, whatever, play. Adults can play too. So, whatever you love to do, get out there and do it. You could write. It's up to you to decide like what play looks like for you. It should be fun, and it should be the kind of thing where you don't watch the clock and time just flies by because you're like in the flow and you're just having so much fun. So try to do that under this Leo new moon. Do things that make you proud and reminisce about the things you're proud of. Leo is the sign of the lion, right? And lion is the regal king of the jungle. And we think about the idea of royalty and the benevolent royalty, the kind that takes care of their people. Do things that make you proud and make you feel regal and make you, feel like you are doing things that contribute to the happiness and the success of others. And one way you can do that that works, there's actually research behind this, is to do a gratitude journal. Do it for 2 weeks. In the evening, before bed, write 3 things in your gratitude journal that relate to what you're grateful for that day, something that you're grateful for, something that went really well for you. Do that every day for 2 weeks. See how you feel at the end of that 2 weeks. Another idea is to pick something you enjoyed doing as a kid and then go do it as an adult. That's always fun. And then my last suggestion is, it's a little woo-woo, but it's still fun. Pretend like you're gifted with magic, the kind of magic that you can uplift someone using your mind. And then go about your day pretending like you're using that magic, and imagine what you would do with this person, how you would kind of like wave your magic wand and they would feel uplifted and happy, something that would make others be happy and smile. Now, sometimes just thinking about this and looking at someone, whether as you think about it, you can't help it, but you smile and you beam some sort of warm vibration to this other person, that you may find that if you do this, that you have made lots of people smile in one day. Now, that may seem really woo-woo and silly, but if we all spent more time trying to uplift others and make them smile in a day, maybe we can start making change person by person in the divisive world that we live in today. It's just an idea. If you want to take it and run with it and play with it, I hope you do. Have a blast. All right, here are some inspirational quotes for you related to the Leo new moon. The first one is from Louise Hay. She wrote a book called You Can Heal Your Life, and it goes like this: self-love creates self-expression and allows us to be creative in deeply fulfilling ways. Very much relates to what we've talked about today. The next one is from Bruce Lee. He said, go towards self-actualization rather than self-image actualization, right? That's about pleasing others versus yourself. He says, search within for honest self-expression. Love that. Next one is from Tyra Banks. She says, never dull your shine for somebody else. Love that. And then the last one is from Oprah Winfrey. And she says, if we're really committed to growth, we never stop discovering new dimensions of self and self-expression. And there's one more. Sorry, I had many. A person without self-expression is a person without personal freedom. Oh my gosh, I love that. That's so true. That's from Robin S. Okay, so that's all I have for you today. I'll be back in 2 weeks. Let's see, the next full moon is Thursday or Friday, August 11th or 12th, depending on where you live. And that's going to be an Aquarius full moon. So I'll be back with another episode for you then. Take care. Have a great Leo new moon. I hope you get out there and express yourself and find yourself in a new chapter on self-expression. Bye.